Hey everybody, welcome to Graphing Systems of Equations Part 2. You knew it wouldn't stay easy forever. Those equations that we worked with earlier, those were actually already in slope-intercept form for you, right? Well, you know they're not always going to be that way. So let's talk about and review how we can put those types of equations into slope-intercept form so that we can graph them easily. So I want to start by looking at number 9. We have x plus y equals -7 and 17x plus y equals 9. Now, if we start with that top equation, and I'm going to start with it in red, we have x plus y equals -7. Well, we all agree probably that that is not in slope-intercept form. So in order to get it in slope-intercept form, remember, slope-intercept form, if I write it in green over here, is y equals mx plus b. So we want y isolated all by himself, and we want x and the y-intercept over on the opposite side. So if we look at x is positive, it has a coefficient of 1, so I'm going to just subtract x from both sides. So I get y equals -7 minus x, and then we can use the commutative property and we can swap these guys around. So y equals -x minus 7. Well, now, if we're looking at this, is it very easy for us to find our slope and our y-intercept? Yes, it is. So I've circled it in orange, and our y-intercept is -7 for that equation, and our slope is -1. So if I go over here to my graph and I graph it like we did before, I'm going to start at -7. And I'm going to go down 1 and over 1. So down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And while we're doing this, I want to remind you that you guys need to remember about running man and how we can test and make sure that our line is going in the correct direction. I didn't mention that in our last video, but it is important that you have your line going in the correct direction. And we talked about that a lot when we first started graphing lines. So draw my line now. Good to go. Okay, so equation number 1 is finished. Now let's look at equation number 2. Let's do him in, let's see, this navy blue. That navy blue looks good. Alright, so I'm going to write him down. Let's divide this paper up so that we don't get all confused. Draw us a line right here. So in navy blue we got 17x plus y equals 9. Alright, and so subtract 17x from both sides. And we can't combine that x and that 9, remember, because they don't both have a variable. So we're left with 9 minus 17x. Use the commutative property again and move those guys around to get y equals -17x plus 9. Alright, so in navy blue I'm going to write what we have over here. We have a b, or a y-intercept of 9 and a slope of -17. Okay, so I'm going to start with 9, go all the way up here to 9. And remember, my rise is -17 and my run is 1. So I'm going to go down 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and over 1. It's a lot of space between those two. And we're fortunate enough that we only had to do it once. So we're going to graph this line. Draw our arrows. And remember, the key here is that we find the point of intersection. So we're not finished just yet because we haven't said what the point of intersection is. These two lines cross at this point, and the point is actually going to be 1, -8. And that's your solution to that system. That's where those two lines cross. I want to look at one more system, look at number 10, because the first one we did was relatively simple. This second one is slightly different because if you notice, now we have a coefficient in front of y. Alright, so let's start with 7x minus 5y equals 15. We're going to solve that equation. So 7x minus 5y equals 15. And remember, our goal is to get y by itself. So the first move I'm going to make is subtract 7x from both sides. Negative 5y equals 15 minus 7x. If we divide every one right there by a negative 5, we're going to get y by itself, and that was our goal. So y equals negative 3. All right, a negative divided by a negative is going to give us a positive 7/5 x. And we can swap those guys around so that it's in slope-intercept form. So y equals 7/5 x minus 3. Now we've got our y-intercept and our slope ready to go. Our b is negative 3. Our b is negative 3, and our slope is 7/5. So we're going to start at negative 3 over here on our graph. And we're going to go up 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and over 5. So our first point. If we go up 7 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can't do it. Let's see if we can go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we will go over 5. All right, remember, you want your line to go all the way across the graph because it's going to give you a more accurate intersection point. Because all of you don't have a line drawing tool like I do. Not quite that simple for you guys. All right, 1 down, 1 to go. I'm going to draw my line, divide my work up so that we don't get confused. And circling this next one in green, so I'm going to graph it in green. It's going to be x minus 5y equals negative 15. Now, if this confuses you, remember, in front of the x, we have a coefficient of 1. And that's actually going to help us out right here if we go ahead and write it. So I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides because the 1 is a positive. So moving it, I'm going to get negative 5y equals negative 15 minus 1x. All right. Now, I still have to get y by itself. It's still with a negative 5. So if I'm going to get y by itself, we're going to divide by a negative 5 on both sides, and everybody's going to get a negative 5. Remember, we talked about this is like M&Ms. If I didn't share all my M&Ms with you guys, y'all would all be mad with me, and you'd never let me live it down. So I get 3, because those are two negatives, so it's going to be a positive, plus, that's going to be positive as well. Negative 1 divided by negative 5 gives me a positive 1/5 x, and we can swap those fellows around, and it will give us y equals 1/5 x plus 3. Alright, so now we've got our slope and our y-intercept isolated. We can tell what they are. B, our y-intercept, is 3, and M, our slope, is 1/5. Alright, so we are going to begin at 3. Very good. And that is a positive 3. So we're beginning up here above the origin. And we're going to go up 1 and to the right 5. We can go back down 1 and backwards 5. But just by going up 1 and over 5, we got very lucky. And our lines crossed immediately. Alright, now remember, you have to write that intersection point. So the point of intersection right here is going to be 5, 4. That's right. Alright, good job, guys. Just remember, solve these things so that they are in slope-intercept form. Isolate that y, and it will make your life much simpler by doing it this way.